Hey everybody, hope you're having an amazing day. It's Corey here, Doctor of Physical Therapy and Strength and Conditioning Coach, as well as a past personal trainer. And we're going to talk about an amazing topic I'm so excited for. We've been working on a PDF guide for you guys based on this topic. So stick around till the end so you can hear about the details and how you're going to get access to it. Okay, so what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about how when a weightlifter develops pain, they eventually, after kind of sucking it up for a while, right, they go see their doctor who prescribes rest, right? But not only rest, they also prescribe medications a lot of times, like anti-inflammatories and muscle relaxants. And we're going to talk about really the 3 best ways to eliminate pain without resting or without taking those anti-inflammatories and muscle relaxants, because they can cause some bad side effects, especially if we take them for a long period of time. So stay until the end of the call, like I mentioned before, because we're going to be sharing that guide with you that goes through an in-depth case study with one of my patients who's a CrossFit coach who's dealing with knee pain. And we're going to show you some of the exercises in that actual guide that you can kind of utilize for yourself if you're dealing with the same issue, okay? So why are we talking about this topic? We're talking about it because too many people rest, and rest can be bad, okay? Why is rest bad? And I know I might be going against the doctors here, right? But a lot of times you go to the doctor and their number one response always is, why don't you rest for 2 weeks, take some time off, don't go to the gym, don't do anything, and it'll heal on its own, right? You hear that all the time. Give it time, it's gonna heal, it's gonna get better on its own. And I'm here to tell you rest can be bad because it creates 3 things, right? Number 1, it makes us lazy. Number 2, it creates bad habits. And number 3, it can create stiffness and atrophy, right? Meaning muscle shrinking and weakness, okay? So number 1, being lazy, right? Picture you have shoulder pain or something like that, right? For instance, you take your trash out every night, right? You're actually using your muscles when you're taking your trash out, right? You got to grab the bag, maybe it's like 10 pounds, maybe it's a little less, maybe it's 5 pounds, but you're actually physically grabbing it. So you're using your shoulder muscles and the tendons that connect to those muscles and the bones, right? And you're physically like carrying it out to the pail or outside, wherever, to the dumpster. And that's like a farmer's walk. So you're using other muscles to do those things. So when you get lazy, you're sitting around, you're like, oh, maybe I'll tell my wife or I'll tell my husband to take out the trash. You're not going to be using your muscles as much, and you're going to be sitting more, meaning you might develop even other issues, right? Maybe you had knee pain, now you're developing back pain because of the way you've been sitting, or because you've been stagnant so long and your spine hates to stay stagnant in one position for too long, right? That's number 1. Number 2 is bad habits. So it goes off of being lazy, right? Resting can create bad habits for you, right? Maybe you stopped going to the gym like the doctor said and you took that rest time. So maybe you're just kind of not doing as much as you need to do, and you're getting lazy because of that. So you're picking up bad habits of saying, oh, I shouldn't, Susie wants to go for a walk later at the track. Like, I shouldn't do that. My doctor said, I need to kind of take it easy. I need to rest. When walking would actually be good for you because it's not going to affect maybe your shoulder, right? Because you have shoulder pain. You can just relax your arms while you walk. If you have knee pain or something, yeah, I understand if you're not going to walk. Maybe you can do like an arm bike or something like that. Or maybe you can do a bike, which is low impact, and that might help your knee too, to work on range of motion. All right, so picking up these bad habits isn't good because then it can make your body more stiff, right? Picture someone who just had like a rotator cuff surgery and they're in a sling. They're typically in that sling for only 4 to 6 weeks so they can heal and recover. But after that, if they stay in the sling, and there are people who do that, then they're gonna take a lot longer to recover because the joint's gonna get really stiff, and the joints around it, like your elbow and your wrist as well, are gonna get stiff. And then your muscles are going to atrophy, right? And what does atrophy mean? Atrophy just means they're going to shrink, they're going to become super weak over time. And that's why it's always hard to kind of work on that strength, and strength usually takes the longest to get back after you improve their mobility after surgery. Okay, so those are the 3 reasons why kind of resting can be bad, and why you shouldn't do it for a long period of time, right? And 2 weeks can be a long time. Right. Next thing is too many people use medications. I mentioned anti-inflammatories and muscle relaxants. There's meloxicam's a common one. There's Flexeril, which is a muscle relaxant, which is a common one. And guys, those are fine if you have a lot of inflammation in your body because they're going to help taper the symptoms so you can tolerate more exercise. But you should not become dependent on those things because they're really just 3 things, right? They can create addictions, right? They can create reliance, and they can also just kind of promote a quick fix. Right? It's like a band-aid on an open wound. It's not going to fix the issue completely, right? If you're on opioids, like if you're on like Oxycontin or something like that, that's a little bit different. The side effects kind of outweigh the benefits sometimes, depending on your pain levels and how long you've had the pain. But you don't want to become reliant on those medications. Let's go back to like the Susie instance, right? From going for the walk. Like maybe she's been taking kind of the medications for 2 weeks and she feels amazing. and her friend asked her to walk, and she's like, I don't know if I should. She's like, I think I'm gonna hold off today because I just ran out of medications this morning or yesterday. And that's not a good way to live your life, because how are you ever gonna progress if you become reliant on those medications? You're like, every time there's pain, you're just thinking like, oh, my medications ran out today. Like, of course I'm gonna have pain, it's just completely normal. And then having that pain becomes normal to you every time you're not taking the medication. And to be honest with you, a lot of those medications do the opposite of what they're supposed to if you take a lot of it in a short period of time. Like, there's bad side effects to those things. It can mess with your digestion, right? It can cause dehydration. It can cause like upset stomach, right? Diarrhea, things like that. It can also cause more arthritis if you're on steroids for too long, right? It can wear down your bones, which is like the opposite of what you want it to do, right? So you got to be careful with those things and read the fine print on all the medication you're taking, all right? So how do we go about this, right? You're like, all right, Corey's going over like, why I shouldn't rest, like why I shouldn't take medications. What should I do, right? What should you do instead of the rest of the meds? There's 3 things in total we're going to talk about. Number 1 is you got to recognize that you have an injury and pinpoint the exact area of discomfort and dysfunction. So let's take my CrossFit coach, Jimmy, for example, right? He's a client of mine. I'm treating him. He's having knee pain kind of on the outer and kind of lower part of the knee, right? So we call it the posterior and the lateral area of the knee, the posterior lateral area. So he has a lot of knee pain when he's squatting, typically below 90 degrees, when he's doing deep lunges, right? When he's doing box jumps, double unders, jump rope in general, right? Maybe even burpees sometimes, running. So we're like, what's going on? We're not really sure. He's had imaging done. Imaging showed nothing, right? Doctors wanted to put him on the medication. He didn't want to go on it. Kudos to him, right? So we're going to talk about number 2, like how we kind of address this issue and what's going on. And guys, you got to recognize like where the issue is, and you got to recognize that you need to do something about it right away, right? The quicker you kind of address it, the quicker you'll heal and recover. All right, so number 2 is you want to mobilize the segments above and below the level of the injury, right? So Jimmy has knee pain, right, in the outer kind of lower area. So we want to look at his hip joint, which is above the knee joint, but we also want to look at his ankle joint, which is below the knee joint, all right? So when we look at that, it kind of describes different types of pain. And if you want to hear about those types of pain, stay till the end. I'm going to give you that PDF guide that talks about the 3 types of pain, but for this instance, we're going to talk about one, which he was in, and that was pinching. So he had pinching pain at his hip, he had pinching pain at his ankle when we went through his mobility assessment. Specifically with hip internal rotation, like that position you're in at the bottom of the squat, he had a lot of pinching in the front and outer part of the hip. And then he also had a lot of pinching in the bottom of the squat in the front of his ankle joint, right? Or in a lunge, when his knee goes over his ankle, which is called ankle dorsiflexion. So because he had pinching there, we know the joint is at fault. So the joint is a stiff thing restricting him, and because his joints are so stiff, he's putting so much more compression on that bottom area and outer area of his knee joint, okay? So we focus doing band mobilizations on that, and there's videos on that in the PDF guide you can refer to. And then we moved on to number 3. Number 3 is stabilizing the segments above and below the level of injury, right? So we improved his mobility for about 4 weeks. He's doing things 4 times a week for about 20 to 30 minutes before his workouts. Still had him do his workouts, just took out Olympic lifting and any kind of high impact activity, right? And he's, what we're doing is with stabilization is we're just strengthening the joints, strengthening the muscles around the joint to make the joint nice and strong, okay? So you gotta get your body comfortable after you get new mobility in those positions, right? So then we're doing loaded squats, right? We're doing kind of glute medius and glute max strengthening around the hip to kind of stabilize it more, get it more comfortable in that hip internal rotation position at end range. We're also strengthening the calves and the anterior tibialis in the front of the ankle joint, because that's going to help him get more comfortable in those end ranges of dorsiflexion at the bottom of the squat, okay? So you need all 3 of those things in order to progress. And you need to find what is causing the issue or causing the dysfunction and discomfort in order to address it and fix it. Okay, this isn't like, let's throw medications at this issue, because you can take those meds and you might feel great, but you're gonna go lift the same way you do, you're gonna go live your life the same way you do, and that issue is gonna come back 9 times out of 10. Maybe not, a week from now, maybe it's 2 or 3 weeks from now, and you're gonna blame it on, I ran out of the medications, when really it's just the way you're doing certain things. And you need to switch things up, or you need to kind of just change the way your body is functioning to improve its ability to kind of work through a greater range of motion, as well as get stronger muscles to control your body through those ranges of motion, okay? So just to recap, all right, number 1 is you need to recognize that you have an injury, pinpoint the exact area of where it is. Number 2 is you need to mobilize the segments above and below the level of the injury, right? pinpoint the type of pain, which again, we're going to talk about in that PDF guide. And then you want to stabilize the segments above and below level of injury, which again, we'll talk about for treatments in the PDF guide. All right. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. That is it for today. If you found this helpful and you found this very useful, then hit that like button, and please don't forget to subscribe and comment below. Let us know your biggest takeaway. I always love to hear from you guys, to hear kind of what you're battling or what you're going through right now. We've gone and created a PDF guide on those 3 best ways to eliminate pain without resting, just like I mentioned, with a lot of details, some videos in there, with my client Jimmy as well. And if you guys want access to that, you got to do 2 simple things for me. You might want to write this down. We'll put it also in the title here above. You want to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's number 1. All right. And then number 2 is you want to invite 3 friends to our Facebook group, which is called Mobility Simplified for Weightlifters. All right. That is all you need to do. Just those 2 simple things. And then when that is all said and done, you just want to direct message us the word pain in all caps, right? And we will send you that PDF on those 3 best ways to eliminate pain without resting. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you have any questions at all, please let them below in the comments. Please share this video with friends and family you think would benefit from this information. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a great one.